Urgent message, let this drop to zero, then move on silver. Sometimes we need to let things crash before making a move on silver. This is one of those times. The price of silver follows a pattern, and in this video, I'm going to show you that data released this morning tells you when to make your move on silver. Check this out. I don't want you to be left behind. This is from Yahoo Finance, and the heading says, U.S. home purchase applications fall by most since early April. I'm telling you, let this drop, and then you go on silver. This says, mortgage applications for home purchases in the U.S. slid last week by the most since early April as mortgage rates remain above 7%. And the article continues to say, the Mortgage Bankers Association Index, and this is key. This is really one of those key data points that we as silver stackers need to look at, because as this moves, the price of silver responds. And this is exactly what we need to follow. This says, the Mortgage Bankers Association Index of mortgage applications to buy a home decreased 4.4% in the week ending May 31st. The contract rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage ticked up 2 basis points to 7.07. Who would go in on a mortgage like that? I mean, it's just so high. You need to take into account, what, 2 years ago, you could get a mortgage at 3%, even a little lower. That's how much this has shot up. The article continues by saying, the rate on a 5-year adjustable mortgage, however, slumped 27 basis points to a 2-month low. The overall index of applications, which includes those for home purchases and refinancing, declined. And while home listings have stabilized, prospective buyers are balking at high asking prices and borrowing costs. The issue with the housing market is really paralleling the issue that we have with commercial real estate. We did not see this coming. Everyone knew, it's been clear since the pandemic, that commercial real estate was in a serious state of disorder and disruption as people were working from home and the office spaces were not being used. That was obvious. But the past 2 months has been an absolute shock to the housing market because people are not buying with these high rates. And when that happens, those that are waiting with their 20% down nest egg, all these first-time home buyers, they're going to put that into the other tangible asset, not real estate, that they thought. They're going to put it into precious metals, and that's what we've been seeing. That's giving us this big bump. So as this continues to decline, because it's going to keep going. This is from Trading Economics. As these MBA mortgage applications continue to drop, this is what we need to look at. This says mortgage applications in the U.S. sank by 5.2% the last week of May. And it says the slump was aligned with concerns that mortgage rates could remain elevated for a prolonged time, with data from the survey showing that average rates, now this is a survey of, I don't want to misquote it, but I think it's like 9 different sectors that they look at. The survey showing that average rates remained above the 7% threshold for nearly 2 months, tracking the jump in long-date treasury yields in the period. Applications to refinance a mortgage, which are more sensitive to weekly changes in rates and the outlook for borrowing costs, fell by 7%, following the 14% plunge from the prior week. That is a plunge. In turn, applications for purchases of a new home fell by 4%. So as these numbers drop, this is exactly what we need to look at to understand what we do with silver. We don't have to go into this blind. When I've been stacking silver for years and years, and when you really get into this endeavor of stacking silver, you don't want to be putting all this money into a metal without really looking at what's happening. Just following the spot price. Oh, the spot price went down a little, I'll buy here. When you look at this data, this really tells you exactly when to make your move. This is from FannieMae.com. It says it right on their site, a National Housing Survey. And according to Fannie Mae, they said the share of respondents in their survey who expect mortgage rates to go down over the next 12 months fell to 26%. That is a small amount of people that are expecting things to get better for the housing market. It fell to 26%. So these are the numbers that we need to see. As these numbers drop and drop, that's when you make your move on silver. This is exactly what you need to be looking at. There's a lot of data that we see, a lot of economic indicators. But I'm telling you, this is one of those key points. If you're enjoying this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. It really helps to get this information out there. Now, the most obvious is that there's 2 areas for tangible assets. There's real estate and there's precious metals. I mean, that's really it. So by watching what's happening in real estate, we could really see what's going to come down the pike for silver, and quickly, because we're not the only ones. Wall Street responds just as quickly as we do in precious metals, if not before. So I like to see this data that's coming out. These are surveys that come out monthly. So I like to look at these surveys and follow when those numbers are dropping down. That tells you where and when to move on silver.